Captain Ji-won sat in her command chair aboard the exploration ship, New Hope. The stars outside looked cold and distant. Her crew had been traveling through this empty part of space for 3 months now. They were looking for new worlds where humans could build colonies. "Captain, I'm getting strange readings," said Minho, her communications officer. He was young and always excited about new discoveries. "There's something big out there. Maybe a space station." G1 looked at the main screen. A dark shape floated in the void between 2 dead planets. It looked like an old mining station, the kind that companies use to strip valuable metals from asteroids. But this one seemed abandoned. "Any life signs?" she asked. "That's the weird part," said Hannah from her science station. "The readings are ... different. Whatever's alive in there, it's not like anything in our computers." The station was huge and broken. Parts of it had been torn away, probably by asteroid impacts. But deep inside, something was still alive. The readings were very weak, like whatever was in there was barely surviving. "Should we investigate?" Captain asked Minho.G1. Thought about it. Space was dangerous. Unknown aliens could be hostile. But her job was to explore and learn. "Yes, but we go in careful and ready for anything." The docking bay of the old station was filled with strange, beautiful creatures. They looked like they were made of living crystal, tall and thin, with bodies that seemed to glow with soft inner light. But they moved so slowly that at first, Ji-won thought they were statues. One of them turned its head toward the human rescue team. The movement took almost a full minute. When it spoke, the words came out with long pauses between each one. "We, are Velthari," it said through their translation device. "We, you, for, coming." There were 12 of them, all weak and hungry. Their leader, an ancient being with deep blue crystal skin, told them a sad story. The Vul lived on a world where everything moved fast. Their society valued quick thinking and rapid decisions. But some Velthari, like these 12, thought slowly and carefully. Our people said we were broken. The elder explained. They us on ships and sent us away. We have been here for 2 years. The crystal beings had been eating emergency rations that ran out months ago. They were dying, cast away by their own people for being different. Ji-won felt angry. How could anyone abandon their own kind like this? "We'll take you with us," she said. "You're safe now." But the Velthari weren't the only ones. As the New Hope continued its mission, they found more refugees. On a broken moon, they discovered the Mortai. These beings looked like tall, graceful humans, but with silver skin and large, sad eyes. They could feel emotions from other people, which made them amazing at understanding others. "My people are warriors," explained Daesu, one of the Mortai refugees. "We fight in great battles across many worlds, but we cannot kill. We feel the pain of those we hurt. So they called us cowards and threw us out." The Mortai had been living in caves, eating whatever plants they could find. There were families with children, all rejected because they were too kind for a warrior society. Next, they found the Cathani on a space station near a dying star. These beings were amazing with biology. They could grow plants that produced any kind of food, create medicines that cured diseases, and even shape living materials into tools and buildings. "We wanted to create gardens and heal people," said Murray, a young Cathani scientist. "But our government only wanted us to make weapons and biological bombs. When we refused, they said we were traitors." Each group had the same story. They were cast out not for being evil or dangerous, but for being different from what their societies wanted. The Velthari were too slow for a fast world. The Mortai were too peaceful for a warrior culture. The Kethani were too creative for a military state. Ji-won made reports to Earth Command, but she knew what the response would be. Earth was still new to space travel. They had their own problems. Taking in alien refugees seemed impossible, but as she watched these beings on her ship, she saw something beautiful. The Valthari, despite their slow speech, gave amazing advice about long-term planning. The Mortai helped solve arguments between crew members before they even started. The Kethani grew fresh food that tasted better than anything from Earth. "Captain," said young officer Junho, "more refugee ships are coming. Word is spreading that humans might help them." Through the viewport, Ji-won could see small, damaged ships approaching. Each one carried more beings that had been thrown away by their own people. The galaxy was full of outcasts, all looking for someone who might accept them. Ji-won made a decision that would change everything. She opened communication channels to all the refugee ships. "This is Captain Ji-won of Earth Vessel New Hope. All peaceful beings seeking shelter are welcome. We will find you homes among the stars." She didn't know it yet, but she had just planted the seeds of something that would shake the entire galaxy. Captain Ji-won stood in the meeting room on Earth, facing a table full of angry officials. Admiral Kyung-ho slammed his hand on the metal surface, making coffee cups rattle. "You brought 17 different alien species to our solar system without permission," he shouted. "What were you thinking?" "They were dying, sir," Gi-won replied calmly. "The Valthari hadn't eaten in weeks. The Mortai children were sick. I couldn't just leave them." Dr. Yoonji, Earth's top alien expert, pulled up pictures on the wall screen. "Look at these beings, Admiral. They're not warriors or criminals. They're refugees. The Valthari can plan building projects that will last for hundreds of years. The Mortai understand emotions better than our best doctors." "I don't care what they can do," Admiral Kyung-ho said. "We have our own problems. Earth is crowded. Our colonies are still being built. We can't take care of aliens too." But word about the refugees was already spreading. News reports showed the crystal-like Valthari helping human engineers design better bridges. Mortai healers were working in hospitals, helping patients feel calm and safe. The Kethani had grown food gardens that could feed entire cities. Commander Daeon was put in charge of the first mixed colony on the planet, New Jeju. He walked through streets where human children played with young Velth. Mortai teachers worked in schools, helping kids understand their feelings better. Kethani farmers grew amazing fruits and vegetables that no one had ever tasted before. "This is incredible," Daeon told his wife during their daily video call. "Crime is almost zero here. Everyone helps each other. The different species are learning from each other." Within 6 months, more refugee ships started arriving at human space stations. The Jilka came first, insect-like beings with 6 arms and big compound eyes. Their own people had thrown them out because they refused to fight in wars. "We only want to build and create," said Sunho, speaking for his Jelka friends through a translator. "But our hive queens wanted us to make weapons. When we said no, they cast us into space." The Galka were amazing builders. They could construct huge buildings in just days, working together like a perfect team. Human construction. Companies started hiring them immediately. Next came the Nethra beings made of glowing gas, who could barely hold solid form. They floated in special containers, their bodies shifting between different colors, depending on their moods. "Our people value those who can become solid and strong," explained Jinwoo, a Nethra, who had learned to speak human languages. "We are too weak," they said, "too soft. But we can do things they cannot imagine." The Nethra could power entire cities just by flowing through special machines. They could also detect problems in computers and engines just by touching them with their energy bodies. Each new species brought something special. The rock-like Turani were great at mining and finding valuable materials. The bird-like Silith could fly in space without ships and were perfect for rescue missions. The plant-like Florata could clean polluted air and water just by being near it. President Minji called an emergency meeting of Earth's government. The big assembly hall was packed with representatives from every human colony and space station. "We have a choice," she said, standing at the podium. "We can send these beings away and stay safe and small, or we can offer them homes and become something bigger than we ever imagined." Senator Woojin stood up. "But what happens when their original species come looking for them? What if we make enemies?" Dr. Sujin, who had been studying the refugees for months, had the answer. "Sir, we've learned something important. Every refugee species was cast out for the same reason. They were different. They were peaceful, creative, and kind in societies that only valued violence and conformity. These aren't the galaxy's mistakes. They might be its greatest treasures." The debate went on for hours. Some officials worried about food shortages, housing problems, and cultural conflicts. Others talked about the amazing advances in medicine, technology, and science that the refugees had already brought to human worlds. Young Representative Byung-soo gave the speech that changed everything. "My grandfather always told me that you judge people not by how they treat the strong, but by how they treat the weak. The galaxy threw these beings away. That tells us who we want to be different from." The vote was close to 847 in favor, 823 against, but it passed. President Minji signed the Sanctuary Protocol that night. Any peaceful being seeking refuge would find safety among humans. Earth opened its arms to the galaxy's unwanted. Within a year, human space became a haven for outcasts from dozens of worlds. Mixed colonies thrived. Human children grew up speaking alien languages. Refugee scientists worked alongside human researchers. But success drew attention. Deep in space, the great galactic empires were watching. They saw humans growing stronger by accepting the beings they had rejected. Some emperors and war chiefs began to worry. On the Kratani homeworld, Warlord Thalvex studied reports of human activities. "These soft humans think kindness is strength," he growled to his generals. "Soon they will learn why we cast out the weak. Soon they will learn their place." The galaxy's powers were stirring, and humanity's greatest test was coming. 5 years had passed since the first refugees arrived, and the human colonies looked completely different now. Director Taiyun walked through the main street of New Busan, amazed by what he saw every day. A Velthari architect named Calvara was working with human engineer Soyang on designing a new hospital. The crystal being moved slowly, taking long pauses between her words, but her plans were perfect. Every detail was thought out for the next 100 years. The foundation must account for the planets shifting in 70 years, Calvara explained patiently. Soyang nodded, making notes on her tablet. "I never would have thought that far ahead," she admitted. "Human buildings usually last maybe 50 years. In the children's park, Mortai teacher Aaron was helping. Human kids learn to understand their feelings better. She could sense when children were sad, angry, or scared even before they knew it themselves. Jaeon, you seem worried about something," she said gently to a 7-year-old boy. "Would you like to talk about it?" The boy looked surprised. "How did you know? I didn't say anything." "Your emotions are like colors to me," Aaron explained with a smile. "Right now, you're showing worried blue mixed with skadilo. That usually means something at home is bothering you." In the agricultural district, Kethany bioshapers worked alongside human farmers to grow incredible crops. Morvain, a young Kethany, could touch a seed and make it grow into exactly what was needed. Hungry, he grew fruits full of proteins. Sick people in the hospital, he created vegetables with natural medicines inside. "This is impossible by our old science," said Dr. Ji-hoon, watching Morvain shape a plant with his bare hands. "You're changing the genetic code just by touching it. Life wants to help," Morvain said in his musical voice. I just, listen to what it wants to become. The integration was working so well that crime had almost disappeared from the mixed colonies. Mortai could sense when someone was planning to do something bad and would talk to them before it happened. Velthari made long-term plans that prevented problems before they started. Cathani grew plants that made people feel happy and calm just by being near them. In the orbital shipyards above New Seoul, Chief Engineer Yunho was building something that had never existed before, hybrid ships that combined the best of all species. Technology. The Jelko worked with perfect teamwork to build the hull. Nethra energy beings powered the engines. Velthari navigation systems could plot courses across centuries. Look at this. Yunho showed his assistant Minseok a new engine design. The Nethra don't just power it, they become part of it. The ship can repair itself, adapt to different situations, even think on its own. The economic reports were incredible too. Dr. Sujin presented her findings to the Colonial Council every month, and each time the numbers got better. Production is up 400%, she announced. Medical advances have increased human lifespan by 15 years on average. Our technology development is moving faster than ever before in history. But the success was noticed by others. Ambassador Hyjin received a message that would change everything. It came through official diplomatic channels from the Galactic Hegemony Council, the group of powerful species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. The message was short and threatening. The human species will immediately cease, harboring genetic deviance and social failures. These beings were rightfully cast out by their superiors. Your interference in natural selection ends now. You have 30 days to comply. Hyjin called an emergency meeting with the top military and civilian leaders. General Dong-Yun studied intelligence reports that painted a scary picture. 17 different species are mobilizing their fleets, he said grimly. The Cretani Empire, the Silthis Dominion, the Zarian Collective, they're all working together for the first time in centuries. Total ship count is over 300 vessels. But why? Asked President Minji. We're not attacking anyone. We're just giving homes to refugees. Dr. Ji-hoon, who now headed the Integrated Research Division, had been studying the galactic powers for years. His answer chilled everyone in the room. Because we're proving them wrong, he said quietly. Every refugee species they cast out is thriving here. The weak Velthari are building structures that will outlast their home civilization. The cowardly Mortai are creating the most peaceful societies in the galaxy. The useless Cathani are solving problems their original species never could. So this isn't about the refugees, realized Admiral Soyan, who had taken over the fleet when Admiral Kung Ho retired. This is about their pride. We're showing that their way of doing things is wrong. Commander Insu, one of the youngest officers in the fleet, asked the question everyone was thinking. Can we fight them? They have ships and weapons we've never seen before. The room was quiet for a long moment. Then Kelvara, the Velthari architect, spoke in her slow, careful way. The hegemony, sees, only, what, to, see, they think, refugees, are, weak, weak, they made, them weak, but here, we, are, strong, together. General Dong-Yun looked at the mixed group of humans and refugees in the room. She's right. They're coming to fight the species they remember. But we're not those species anymore. And we're definitely not fighting alone. The galaxy's greatest powers were coming to reclaim their discarded children. They had no idea what those children had become. Fleet Admiral Soyan stood on the bridge of her flagship Soul's Pride, watching the enemy fleet drop out of hyperspace. The sight took her breath away. 300 massive warships filled the space in front of them, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. "Captain, I count 15 different species in that fleet," reported Lieutenant Yemen from his communications station. "Cretani dreadnoughts, Silthese battle carriers, Zarian destroyers. This is every major power in the galaxy working together." The human fleet looked tiny in comparison. Only 47 ships, most of them converted civilian vessels, with weapons added on. But Admiral Soyan wasn't looking at the numbers. She was looking at her crews. Humans worked alongside Velth navigators, Mortai empaths, Cathini bioengineers, and dozens of other refugee species. A massive holographic image appeared in front of the human fleet. Hegmark Thalanox of the Cretani Empire filled the screen with his 4 massive arms spread wide in a show of power. His voice boomed across all channels. "Humans, your foolish experiment ends today. You will surrender all refugee populations immediately. They belong to us to dispose of, as we see fit. Resist, and we will take them by force, and teach you the price of defying your betters." Admiral Soyan stepped forward. Her response was calm, but firm. "Hegmark, these beings are our citizens now. They chose us, and we chose them. We will not abandon our family." Behind the front lines, the mixed colonies prepared for the worst. On New Busan evacuation centers filled with families of every species. Human children held hands with young Veltari. Mortai elders comforted frightened human civilians. Cathini medics prepared emergency supplies for all species. But something unexpected was happening in the research labs. Cathini scientist Morvain worked frantically with human engineer Dr. Seungmin, their hands moving over bioforming equipment. "The hull plating can adapt," Morvain explained excitedly. "Not just repair damage, actually learn from it and become stronger." In the strategy rooms, Velthari advisor Calvara sat perfectly still for hours, while General Hunwu waited patiently. When she finally spoke, her words sent chills through everyone listening. "The enemy will concentrate fire on our command ships first. They will use formation 7 in 2 hours and 13 minutes. "How can you know that?" asked Captain Arium, commanding one of the escort vessels. "Because always." Dukelvara replied simply. "I have been calculating their patterns for days." The first enemy attack came exactly as predicted. Massive energy beams that could destroy planets struck the human defensive grid. But something impossible happened. The beams were absorbed and redirected by Nethra energy beings who had integrated themselves into the shield systems. "Impossible," shouted a Silthese commander on the enemy channels. "Our weapons should have destroyed their entire front line." The second wave brought kinetic missiles designed to punch through any armor. Majelka defenders, working with perfect coordination, controlled swarms of tiny interceptors that destroyed every missile before impact. However, the enemy had overwhelming numbers. For every clever defense, 10 more weapons found their targets. The human cruiser New Hope exploded in a ball of fire. The destroyer Harmony lost power and began drifting helplessly. On the surface of New Jetsu hegemony landing forces began their assault. Commander Daeon watched enemy dropships descend through the atmosphere like metal rain. "All civilian areas are under attack," he reported to Admiral Soyan. "They're targeting refugee neighborhoods specifically." The situation looked hopeless. Half the human fleet was damaged or destroyed. Enemy soldiers were landing on 3 different worlds. The refugees they had sworn to protect were under direct assault. That's when the real surprise began. In the biolabs, hybrid technologies that had been growing for years suddenly came online. Shipholes that had been touched by Cathani hands began to heal themselves and adapt to enemy fire. Weapon systems guided by Velthari, long-term thinking, started predicting enemy movements minutes in advance. Captain Insu's cruiser Rising Sun had taken direct hits from a Kratani dreadnought. The ship should have been destroyed. Instead, its bioadaptive hull absorbed the energy and grew stronger. When Insu fired back, his weapons had evolved to match the enemy's exact weaknesses. "This is impossible," Hegmark Thalanox transmitted, his confidence cracking. "These are rejects, failures. How are they adapting so quickly?" Admiral Soyan smiled grimly as she watched her fleet begin to turn the tide. "You cast out your greatest treasures, Heg. We simply gave them a chance to show what they could really do." The Mortai revealed their true power next. Instead of just reading emotions, they began projecting them, coordinating every allied ship's crew as if they were one mind. Humans, Veltari, Kesani, Jelka, and dozens of other species moved with perfect unity. Young Lieutenant Biamju, fresh out of the academy, watched in amazement as enemy formations that had dominated the galaxy for millennia began falling apart against tactics they couldn't understand. "Captain," he said to Ariam, "I think we're winning." The galaxy's greatest powers had come to reclaim their discarded children. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy unlike anything they had ever encountered, an alliance built not on conquest, but on acceptance. The battle was almost over, and the humans were losing badly. Admiral Soyan watched her fleet fall apart as more ships exploded or drifted powerless in space. Enemy landing forces had reached the surface of 3 refugee worlds. Children were crying in the evacuation centers. "Captain, we've lost the Busan Dawn and the New Beginning," reported Lieutenant Yemen, his voice shaking. "Enemy forces are surrounding New Jeju Colony." Admiral Soyan was about to order a final retreat when something incredible happened. Velthari advisor Kelvara, who had been sitting perfectly still for 12 hours, suddenly spoke. "Admiral, in ... exactly ... 17 ... minutes ... and ... 40-3 ... seconds ... enemy ... command ... ships ... will ... be ... position ... 77 Alpha." Captain Ariam looked confused. "What does that mean?" "It ... means ... we ... can ... destroy ... their ... entire leadership ... with ... one ... coordinated ... strike ... if ... we move ... now." Everyone stared at the crystal being. "How can you possibly know that?" asked General Hangwu. Slow explanation amazed them all. While the battle raged, she had been calculating not just where every enemy ship was, but where they would be hours in advance. Her crystal mind could see patterns in the chaos that no one else could imagine. There. Commanders ... always ... move ... to ... central. Positions ... win ... think ... think ... winning. They ... cannot ... help ... themselves. At the same time, something even more incredible was happening throughout the fleet. Mortai Empath Erin was no longer just reading emotions. She was connecting every mind in the alliance. Human thoughts flowed into Velthari calculations. Kathani creativity merged with Gelka teamwork. Dozens of species began thinking and acting as one perfect unit. Captain Insu felt it happen on his bridge. Suddenly he knew exactly what every other ship captain was thinking. He could feel the fear of the human civilians, the determination of the Velthari navigators, the fierce protection instincts of the Mortai warriors. But more than that, he could sense the battle plans forming in everyone's minds at once. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We're all connected." In the biolabs that had been working frantically throughout the battle, Kethany scientist Morvain achieved something that changed everything. Working with human engineer Dr. Seongmin, he had grown new ship components that could evolve in real time. The damaged cruiser, Soul's Pride suddenly sprouted new armor that learned from every enemy hit. Its weapons systems, touched by bioshaping, began, adapting to each enemy's weaknesses instantly. When the Kritani dreadnought fired its planet-killing main cannon at Captain Insu's ship, the bio-adaptive hull didn't just absorb the blast. It studied it, learned from it, and fired it back 10 times stronger. Hegmark Thalanox watched his most powerful warship explode and couldn't believe his eyes. This cannot be happening. These are the galaxy's rejects. The weak, the useless. Admiral Soyen's response echoed across all communication channels. You're right, Hegmark. They were rejected. But you made a mistake. You threw away the best parts of your civilizations, and we welcomed them home. The coordinated strike that Calvara had predicted worked perfectly. Following her precise calculations, every human and refugee ship moved as one mind. In exactly 17 minutes and 43 seconds, the enemy command vessels found themselves surrounded and helpless. But the real shock came from the refugees themselves. The Nethra energy beings didn't just power human ships anymore. They flowed through enemy vessels, disabling weapons and engines without destroying them. The pacifist Jelka used their perfect teamwork to coordinate rescue operations, saving enemy crews even as their ships were captured. Young Lieutenant Byamju, monitoring communications, heard something that made him smile. Captain, the enemy crews are surrendering, but listen to what they're saying. The transmissions were full of confusion and wonder. Enemy soldiers who had expected to fight terrified refugees found themselves being rescued by the very beings they had come to capture. Veltari medics treated wounded Kritani warriors. Mortai empaths helped traumatized Silthius pilots calm down Kithani. Bioshapers grew fresh food for hungry enemy crews. They're helping us, stammered a confused Zarian commander. We came to destroy them, and they're saving our lives. The tide of battle turned completely. Ships that had dominated the galaxy for centuries found themselves outmatched by technologies they couldn't understand and tactics that seemed to predict their every move. The alliance of humans and refugees fought like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Within hours, the mighty hegemony fleet was in full retreat. Hegmark Thalanox, his flagship damaged and his forces scattered, sent one last transmission. This isn't over, humans. The galaxy will not stand for this. This chaos you've created. Admiral Soyen's reply was calm but firm. Hegmark, we didn't create chaos. We created family, and family protects each other. As the last enemy ships limped away into hyperspace, the mixed colonies celebrated. In the medical stations, Dr. Nari worked alongside healers from a dozen species, treating wounded from both sides with equal care. Human children hugged their Velthari friends. Mortai elders comforted anyone who needed it, regardless of species. Commander Daon, surveying the aftermath from New Jeju's surface, made a report that would change galactic history. The refugees aren't refugees anymore. They're citizens, and we're not just humans anymore. We're something new. The galaxy had sent its greatest powers to reclaim the beings they had thrown away. Instead, they discovered that humanity's greatest strength wasn't weapons or ships. It was the simple act of saying, "You belong here," to those the universe had rejected. Among the stars, a new kind of civilization had been born. One that measured success not by who it conquered, but by who it welcomed home.